Hello, friends and heathens. My name is E.S. Wynn. I'm the author of 71 books in print, and I also make videos and articles and such about heathen, Germanic pagan, and Northern Path spiritual stuff. I answer questions, I share my meanderings and research with the world, and I run a Patreon. And I'll put a link to that in the About section of the video. Today I'd like to answer another question I recently received, which was, can I still use tarot cards if I am a Viking pagan? Well, can you still use tarot cards if you walk a Germanic pagan path? Absolutely. Why not? Did Vikings use tarot cards? Well, I haven't seen any evidence of that. I don't know anyone that's seen any evidence of that. There are runes, but I don't think that you should feel obligated to use runes as a Norse pagan or someone walking a Northern or Germanic path just because it's the divination method that's associated with the path, or at least the primary one. It's not the only one. If you connect well with tarot cards, then you should use tarot cards. I myself, and I identify as a Germanic pagan or heathen or Northern Path shaman. I think a lot of those labels apply to me. I have quite a few tarot cards. I also collect board games and card games, so probably isn't too surprising that I have 35 tarot decks at this point. Mostly obtained from thrift stores, which I think is wonderful because they say, I have heard once or twice in the past that the only tarot decks you should use are the ones that are given to you. Well, I think that's a self-imposed limitation, but I think it's kind of a cute idea. And if people are giving the tarot decks to the thrift store, and then you're going in there and getting it for $1 or $2, I think it's the next closest thing to being given the deck directly. So I've collected a lot of them over time in that way. My wife and I have actually made some neat little containers. This is one my wife made that I keep some of my favorite decks in. This is one I made. It's very simple. It's just a simple design. I use some of my favorite decks that I use for divination are goodness, I can't even remember some of their names. The Wildwood Tarot. Oh, that's this one. Let's see if I can find it. Aha! There we go. It has animals, which I really connect to. I don't know if I can't see that when I look at the preview image. But it has animals, it has shamans. It's sort of this Neolithic inspired deck. I like it a lot. It really speaks to the primal part of me. I work with some pretty deep ancestors, so I really like the theme of that deck. This one that has the reindeer on it, this one is, which deck is this? Oh yes, the dreaded stereotypical animal deck, the medicine cards. Well, if people are telling you you're a fluffy bunny because you're using these, well, if you connect with these cards, there's nothing wrong with that. Just ignore those people. The look at that. Fox again. Not surprising. The animal medicine tarot cards definitely tread towards cultural appropriation, but they are a beautiful and wonderful deck, in my opinion. So don't let anyone make you feel foolish for using it. Of course, the deck that I probably learned on the most. I learned on the Rider-Waite initially, but the deck that I learned on after that and did most of my learning on was actually the Thoth deck, which is a very good deck for no-nonsense, serious answers. You want the straight shit where, you absolutely get... Oh, hey, that's funny. We absolutely get a clear message. Thoth is a good one. I happen to be in the process of moving, so hey, makes sense. I would get, radical external physical change. Hey, death, rock on. So nothing wrong with using the Thoth deck if you're a Norse pagan. I think it's a wonderful deck. That one and the Rider-Waite are my two go-tos. When I'm just curious or when I'm having fun with the tarot, I'll go towards the other ones. Generally, they all have their purpose. Each one is a tool. But if it's something very serious and I absolutely need to know the answer, I'll go to either the Rider-Waite or the Thoth. I don't happen to have the Rider-Waite handy at the moment for this video. I keep it in my notary case, actually, which is hilarious. So whenever I'm going to important business meetings and loan signings and estate document signings and that kind of stuff, when I'm in the midst of working in the field of law, I have my tarot cards with me. I don't think most people even notice because I keep them under stuff, but I don't do readings while I'm notarizing. That would be that would be fantastic. All right, another one that I use that I feel especially connected to is the Angels and Ancestors deck. That's a fun one. Some people would probably cry cultural appropriation with this one too. I think that it's a wonderful deck in regards to getting in touch with deeper European ancestors, which is the direction I'm going in. It's not perfect for everyone, but it is the direction that I'm going in. And some of it, I guess, is a little silly, but I think that particular depiction of a shield maiden is a little bit, maybe not stereotypical, but hey, look who came up again. Anyway, that's a fun one. That's one I enjoy. I'm running out of room here. I got a couple more I want to show off that I enjoy. This one is hilarious. The Viking Oracle, for all you Viking pagans out there. This one has some really epic art. And I don't mean epic in terms of like wow, but more like it's epic. I mean, you can tell that they're kind of like inspired by World of Warcraft and such. But I do like it. It's got the runes. It's got some of the gods. I like it as an alternative to the rune tarot. That's like a deck that's just the runes, because it mixes in these. Well, I mean, it's like some outrageous images in here. But it mixes in the runes, the gods, some of the concepts, here's one. That's not a rune or a god. There you go. Let's see if you know enough about Norse paganism to be able to translate that and make sense of it. And if you do, you can put it in the comments if you want. I think a lot of people would be mystified by that. But, ooh, the Well of Weird. Hey, well, that's one thing you can call it. But anyway, so that's a fun one. I like to use that one when presentation is important. Then there's one of my, well, I keep saying that, one of my favorites. They're my favorites. Each one that I say is my favorites is a favorite for a different reason. But this one really speaks to me on a deep level. The Shaman's Oracle. It is a little tiny bit campy, but these kind of things always are. And it's a wonderful mixture of like these sort of renditions of Paleo-European, Paleolithic cave art and stuff that was not in Europe. Stuff that's much more like what you see in Australia. So, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like the handprints and the people or not the handprints. Not the people. The handprints or the god designs that come from other cultures and other parts of the world. This one is Paleolithic European. But, I want to be very careful about not treading on anybody's toes when it comes to sacred art like this. But I suppose at the same time, we have to go beyond sometimes just the horses and aurochs that are on the cave walls in places like Lascaux. Examples of where people have actually been carrying this stuff on for a long period of time and have left their handprints on cave walls into a much greater degree over a long period of time, instead of a long time ago in an isolated place. that kind of stuff. Last but certainly not least is a deck that I was chasing for a long time before it became a deck. I was so excited when it came out. It is a non-binary oriented deck that is called, I'll probably use the box, the Numinous Tarot. Oh no, squished card. The Numinous Tarot is fantastic. It's not what you would expect in a tarot deck. It's very different from any other one. It has all kinds of representation. Look at that. All kinds of representation in terms of people. It has LGBTQ. It has non-binary. It has, well, I guess Q would technically be non-binary. All the language has been updated to be non-binary, to be gender fluid in nature. It has vials instead of cups, bells instead of swords, which I think is fantastic. That's my favorite. Tomes instead of pentacles. And, oh man, what was the last one? Oh, there's another one that's all mixed up in there. Oh, yes, candles instead of wands, which really plays up the fiery side of wands that people don't often think or talk about. So, to re-answer the question at the beginning, can you still use tarot cards if you are working in a Germanic context, if you identify with Germanic deities and spirituality? Absolutely. Did Vikings sit around with a rider waite and tell each other's fortunes on the longboats? Probably not. That would be some Doctor Who type stuff right there, I think, if that happened. But that doesn't mean that you can't use the tools that have been invented and put into use since those long ago days, those days over a millennia ago. Your practice ultimately should be a personal one. And as you explore the world around you, the tools that work best for you are the ones that you should use. And that's the basic, full brunt of it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it pointed you in the right direction. Heck, maybe you saw a deck that you liked. You can go online and pick that up if you want. I have a Patreon. I have a website. I'll put those in the About section of the video. And I'd love to see you there. And if you have any other similar questions you'd like to see me do a video on, hey, send me a note. Put a comment on Patreon. Leave a comment to the video. Subscribe. And hey, your question might just get answered in the near future. So it's been a pleasure, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.